to our music news now, and it's Axl Rose, sponsored by Dettol. Axl Rose, John.
Sponsored by Axl's hair.
We'll get into that.
He's still got it.
Axl Rose delivers heartfelt speech, performs November Rain at Lisa Marie Presley's Graceland Memorial Service. This coming in from Billboard.
Just try to remember November Rain.
And it's a piano sort of ballad one. Axl Rose was among several music stars to honour Lisa Marie Presley during the late singer-songwriter's public memorial service at Graceland on Sunday, January 22nd. That was in a rare speaking appearance. The Guns N' Roses frontman took the stage at Memphis Gathering, which was live streamed from Graceland's website, to share some heartfelt words about his close friend before performing a solo rendition of the Guns N' Roses classic November Rain. With Lisa's passing, with Lisa's passing, I knew if I was invited, I need to come to these ceremonies. Rose began his emotional statement reading from a cell phone. I hadn't planned on speaking, and when I was put on the spot, I really didn't know what to say. I was tongue-tied and nervous. I didn't really know what I said, but as I'm sure many of you are still in shock, as I feel I will continue to be for some time. He continued to say, I never in a million years imagined being here singing under these circumstances. She was extremely proud as anyone could be, of her father and his many accomplishments and places in music. She was very proud of the Elvis movie, and how she felt it portrayed her father, and the care that was put into the film by those involved, director Baz Luhrmann's vision and direction, and Austin Butler's dedication to the role of a father. I think that was all I had to say, John, to be honest with you. Just talking about, obviously, the rendition of November Rain. It's one of my favourite Guns N' Roses songs. Now, I can't claim to be a great big fan of Guns N' Roses and know all their stuff. I know the hits. That's as far as it goes, and I enjoy their hits. I think they're a fantastic band, or they were a fantastic band when they first came out. First heard them in '87 with, obviously, Sweet Child of Mine and Paradise City. Two excellent tracks, and sporadically have had great hits as well through that period. November Rain was sort of a change in tone from their sort of heavy rock stuff to a more ballady thing. When I heard this performance, I forgot how good Axl Rose was as a singer and playing the piano. He is a great musician, a great showman, and you forget that at times, that he's not all just the rock and roll lifestyle and raving it and being absolutely crazy and stuff like that. There is obviously that sensitive side to him and his writing, and obviously with the band. But this was quite touching, and I didn't know he had a connection with Lisa Marie Presley, but there was quite a few, obviously, other singers. I think Alanis Morissette was there. Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins was there as well. So it was a great turnout. I've seen a bit of it, John, but I was really just watching the November Rain footage.
Yeah, I didn't know this was happening. Well, I seen something about it, but I'm not one for watching these sort of funeral things, these sort of celebration of one's life. I did watch the Taylor Hawkins one. It was like a live performance at, I think, Wembley, the end of last year, but that was just because I'm a huge fan of the Foo Fighters and obviously Taylor. With Lisa, I'm not going to lie, I didn't even know Lisa Marie was a singer in her own right. I thought she was just some sort of celebrity figure.
Elvis's
daughter, obviously, and that was the sort of legacy of Elvis propelled her into fame. Also, I knew she was married to the likes of Nick Cage and stuff like that over the years. Michael Jackson. Yeah. I never realised she had her own career as a singer. And obviously, throughout that career, she will have picked up contacts the likes of Axl Rose. And it's nice to see, obviously, with her untimely demise, you've got these people coming out supporting her legacy, celebrating her life. It was a good turnout. I remember when the news broke about Lisa Marie passing, I was actually surprised. I was shocked. Yeah. Because I'd just been watching
the Globes
highlights from it, seen her there. I was watching the likes of Austin Butler, Actors Round Table. I know he played a brilliant role as Elvis, really passionate, seen him hugging her, with her. So it was a real surprise to see she'd passed away. And obviously, I know of her sort of tragedies over the last few years. I think she lost her son to suicide. It really affected her deeply.
You could see that,
So that and her father's passing, she had a very, very fucking hard life, and she had a lot of emotional trauma in there, so it was a real shame to see her passing away, man. Obviously, as a mother, you don't want Priscilla, you don't want to see any parent outliving their kid at any point.
She was 1968 she was born, so she was 8 years older than me, John, and I always thought she was a stunning looking lady. looked very much like Elvis, is certainly in the cheekbone region and the eyes. Absolute perfection in terms of looks.
Got the Elvis vibes, haven't they? Strong
I hadn't obviously seen her since the Nick Cage stuff, and then when I saw her obviously on the week before her passing, I just
she
thought
didn't look great, man.
She just looked like she was struggling with life. So much so when she was, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, so much so, John, when she was standing next to Priscilla, I wasn't sure what one was what. I think that's how bad her son's passing affected her. It just drained the life out of her, obviously.
She
emotionally,
did battle the demons. She was quite vocal about how it impacted on her. And obviously tragic what happened to that guy as well. So I mean, there's been a lot of tragedy surrounding the Presley family, if you like.
Yeah.
The legacy of that family. So it was really sad to hear of her passing. You never want to hear that.
John,
and then also Jeff Beck as well passing away around about the same time. We lost a couple of big names.
It was a day apart, yeah.
And that one surprised me too. Also being a huge fan of Johnny Depp.
Were you a fan of Guns N' Roses at all? Did you like
fan of the hits,
yeah?
Stephen? I like the Welcome to the Jungle, obviously Sweet Child of Mine. I was more a fan of Slash and his guitar playing. He really got me into guitars. Him and Peter Walsh with the Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
Yeah.
Well, what got me into guitars? Sweet Child of Mine, that riff, the minor, what's the fuck's the name again? The minor pentatonic scale, I think it's on. That got me into the guitar. Just this vibe of this guy with the hat and the hair. It was more him. I was never really a massive fan of Axl Rose. It's just a bit of a
typical frontman, isn't it?
A bit of a tadger, for lack of a better word. Just very melodramatic. Me. It's just basically everything you don't want to see in a frontman he had.
Yeah.
Very loud. Great voice, so you can't deny the man's vocal range. I think it was up there with the likes of Mariah Carey. Just
That's
incredible range that he had. And also he was the frontman of this huge band. They were undoubtedly a massive band, Guns N' Roses. And as you did say, Stephen, the styles, they have stylistically changed over the years. Obviously Slash is off doing his own thing now, I think, with his own band.
Well, I think
but I was more
I think that he had a version of Guns N' Roses out maybe about 15 years ago that didn't obviously have any of the original lineup.
It's like that guy who
from the Beach Boys, who's going about doing the Beach Boys stuff.
But you remember, that other guy. But you remember us going to see Ray Davies.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, it's one ticked off my list. I mean, I went to see The Who. No, you didn't. You're like 20 odds. John Entwistle and guys like that fucking died years ago.
Keith Moon. Yeah.
You've seen not The Who. You've seen Pete Townsend.
Yeah. That's like you saying you've seen Nirvana when you went to see the Foo Fighters.
Well, exactly. I always joke that I've seen the lesser half of Nirvana. Chris Novoselic and Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Well, Nirvana from the early days. They get Dave in. He was like the 20th drummer. And obviously Pat Smear comes in as like a sort of sideman for live shows.
Sin says, John, I knew she was a singer from quite some time ago. She was never huge though. Yeah, I don't think she made any sort of...
I think it's hard when your father's Elvis Presley. It's like football, isn't it?
It's like any
Johan
Beatles
Cruyff
kids try to make it in music.
Impossible, man.
I think Julian was probably the one.
Incidentally, Danny Harrison, man. Fucking hell, he's doing very well in life.
Yeah,
he's looking good, man.
Yeah,
there was a photograph came up of him.
But it's absolutely right.
It's a good Bible back.
It's absolutely right though, John. I think it was quite some time ago she was a singer, and I don't think she made it any news over here in the UK, to be fair. So that's why we weren't really familiar with any career or anything like that. Wasn't that obviously we weren't that interested. Certainly,
I'm a huge fan of Elvis. I love Elvis. Everyone I think loves Elvis. It's impossible not to love him.
I'll say one thing though, John. Along with Priscilla, with the tiara, they have managed that estate very well, and kept obviously the memory of Elvis Presley alive and well. Obviously, the way they've handled it, they've not done anything tacky, which a lot of people would do with estates if they got their hands on it, and releasing greatest hits all the time. I think there's only been one greatest hits that have ever come out.
There's an Essentials album and there's a number ones.
Number ones, that's enough. That's all you need, isn't it?
Well, I mean, man's career speaks for itself. It wasn't that wide ranging. Obviously, had a huge break, didn't he? And then came back.
Well,
and
he did a lot of
like Las Vegas
stuff.
He
did the film stuff as well when the Beatles were out, and it was mostly like film tracks that were coming out as albums. So
what sums Elvis up for me? There's 3 eras for me. The early stuff with these Wham people, sort of new generation. The return stuff with the black leather stuff, getting into the Las Vegas shit. I could call it shit because it was still good, but it wasn't. It was like.
It was obviously tied to that.
But the best era for me was the films, the likes of Return to Sender. You watch a Return to Sender video straight from a movie. Man's just dapper as hell. He's got the suit on. he's on the stage dancing, he's doing all this. I'm gonna let him in the mailbox.
Is that the one that sort of like crisscrosses in the background?
Yeah, he's kind of doing all this though. And bring it right back to me. She wrote upon it and said dancing, man. The guy
John,
was.
that would be a good tier system. Elvis hits.
Oh yeah,
This tier
Scotty Moore, I remember
Scotty
Scotty Moore now, I always forget his name, but
yeah.
what a guitarist he was. They were all towering figures,
Bill
man.
Black, wasn't it, the
You
bass?
think, Stephen, like the 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
Elvis a 6 foot man, Scotty Moore well over 6 foot, the bass is well over 6 big, towering guys, man. They were just...
That's your centre halves right there, yeah.
They were it.
Yeah, definitely.
That was music.
But John, just the last note on obviously Lisa Marie Presley. Sad to see her passing, obviously. It's very tragic, very young age. 58 was it?
58.
Very sad indeed. Always looked at her, a beautiful lady, beautiful girl at the time as well. Thought she's absolutely stunning. She looks so much like her father. Bit of her mother in there as well, who was a very good looking lady as well.
Even then she's doing alright.
It's safe to say the Presley family was a good looking family, John, but it's nice to see Axl Rose obviously with those nice words, and obviously it's affected him as it would. I didn't realise how close he was to Lisa Marie, but hopefully it
shows a more softer side to Axl as well.
Yeah,
he has, as you did see. He's got this sort of more softer, emotional side, because in the 90s, I just recall, as I was going to say, I was always more of a fan of sort of alternative music, the likes of grunge, Nirvana, bands like that, and they hated Guns N' Roses, Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl hated Axl. I went back and watched videos of them absolutely destroying, throwing pot shots at them. They hated each other.
Different styles of music, genres, isn't it? And it's total opposites, but not my scene, John. I've got to be honest with you. I've got to make that clear as well. I was more into the stuff you were just saying as well. I'm not into heavy metal or anything like that. It's not my bag, but good few tunes in there.
But there was undoubtedly.
We'll move on to